All right, what's up, everybody? How you doing tonight? It's Keefy, late night Keefy, here with a little live stream bonus stream for all y'all. Glad to be here. It is Wednesday night, almost Thursday, everywhere else in the world. I think we finally got back on the good old Instagram. So if you're watching here on Instagram, say what's up. Glad you're here. In case this is your first time here, and you probably is, Ghost Cult Mag is your one-stop source for rock and metal news. 7 days a week, 365. That's what we do here. And interviews with bands, festival coverage all over the world, all that jazz. So thanks for being here. We appreciate you. I'm also hanging out on TikTok. Typically, the best experience for this show is YouTube, Twitch, Instagram, now that we're back, and sometimes Twitter. But I'm hanging out on TikTok if anybody wants to ask any questions. And we had some major news this week, so I wanted to kind of address these controversies. You know, it seems like we can't go too far without having some drama week in and week out here in the music world. So, we've had a lot of positive stuff. I tend to try to focus on good and positive news. That's what makes me happy. But sometimes you can't do that. Focus on. Sorry about that. Just runaway screens here. But yeah, if you're watching live, drop a comment. Let us know what's up, and tell us what's going on with y'all. Just inviting a few people over. It's been a crazy couple of days in the music world. I didn't expect all this to happen, but here we go, and here we are. So let's just talk turkey about this stuff. I drop a couple of links around just to spread the goddamn word. But let me know how everybody's doing out there. A little early programming note. I'll bring it up again later in the show in case you're watching on replay or listening to the podcast tomorrow. We have our usual weekly live stream show, usually Thursday afternoon. I think I'm going to go live about 2 p.m. Pacific tomorrow. So this is just some programming note. I'll mention it again later, but I just like to let everybody know what's going on, what goes on. Robert Panel is here. Hi, Robert. Suzette is here. Username. Where is your username? Julia Gulia. You better take off my Van Halen shirt before you curse the band and they break up. Skullbashers here. What up? What up? What up? Good to see ya. If you pop in the conversation, because I like a conversational show, this is for you. So feel free to drop a comment. Looks like we got some people watching on the Tube View and Twitch. Audio662 is here. Sound like Stomp 442 Dracula Official is here. Shapeless Noid is here, and Dr. Acula, what up? Good to see you. Haven't talked to you in a minute. So, what are we talking about here today? There's these pretty crazy things going on in the world. Let me bring in the deck here, Papao, and put it back in. Hey, yo, I made this deck just for you. Tipsy Cat is here. A few other people are here. Major lawsuits in music and rock and metal this week. So let's just talk turkey and get into it. Thanks for watching. Appreciate the likes on the live stream. Much obliged. Once again, chances are this is your first time seeing us on TikTok or YouTube or Facebook even or Instagram. Please give us a subscribe because it's hard to reach people that you're not subscribed to. Small creators are getting raked over the coals, and it's really hard. Hey, JB, thanks. So, 3 major lawsuits this week, and if you can see the thumbnail everywhere but TikTok, you have Perry Farrell of Jane's Addiction, James Hetfield of Metallica, and Pixel Grip, the band. And, maybe you're unfamiliar with that last artist, but it's Something Stupid with Dom is here. Dom, we're talking about lawsuits this week in rock and metal, and there are a bunch. So, first things first, as always, just a reminder, we recently did a whole live stream review of the Black Sabbath event that has kind of changed the game and changed the world for this generation. Pretty damn amazing. But if you missed that, you can catch up on all our content. Usually lives on YouTube with smaller, biteable size things for everybody else. Let us drop the tip menu in here in case anybody's feeling generous. Somebody complained that I asked for money. I don't know. I'm doing the same thing everybody else does on all these channels. Um, you know, freedom isn't free. It costs $1.05. But here's our Cash App. Here's our tip menu in case you're curious. You can feel free to tip us for good service. And you can support us at Cash App, Ko-fi, PayPal, Venmo, whatever you like. And I'll plug this a little bit more tomorrow along with our affiliate partners. We've got a brand new killer affiliate partner, Fable Beards. So I'm really excited about that. That's how I keep my beard looking beautiful. So yeah, man. First things first, Metallica. Everybody knows one of the most litigious and bands of all time, being that they're one of the most successful bands of all time. Of course, they're going to be hella litigious. They sue like it's nobody's business, and sometimes they have taken a beating for it, and other times it's hard. Something Stupid with Dom says I had a family reunion with my parents. We watched on a massive stereo. That's amazing. That's amazing. What a great event that sounds like. Yeah, I watched it with my girlfriend all day, and then we did our little roundtable review. You can watch that on YouTube. I should remix it up and chop up the clips and share some of it around so people can get the awesome insights. Not from me, but from our panel of guests. But Metallica is one of the most successful and litigious bands ever. Like I said, they're well known for their lawsuits. So earlier this week, the Pentagon put out a video. I'm not going to get overtly political. People who watch me enough know where I am politically. Usually left of Castro and Jesus Christ, but that's just me. But irrespective of political ideologies, the government, the Pentagon, the Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth, put out a video this week touting the new permissions and freedoms and budgeting the Defense Department has for their drone program. Drones first became very popular and famous under Barack Obama as president. And Dom is also on YouTube. What up, brother? Thanks for being here. I appreciate you. I'll kill the ticker. Everybody knows we're from ghostcultman.com. Please feel free to check out our website. That's where our best content lives beside YouTube. And, without getting super duper political, though, they put this video out with this drone presentation. And the original version of the video had Metallica's Enter Sandman in it. First of all, as a huge Metallica fan, I could go the rest of my life and never hear that song again because it's just everywhere. I'm sure people feel like that played out on songs by bands they love, and I get like that with Enter Sandman, but I love the Black Album, unashamedly. I think it's a great album. And, Metallica started to get away from metal and more into heavy rock and hard rock, but, and then brought it back again later, but Black Album still holds up most of it. And I've even seen it perform live twice, which is amazing and rare. And Metallica immediately sent the Defense Department a cease and desist about their song. Like, they have lawyers on retainer ready to go. And I just kind of wondering why they didn't see this coming. Like, how did you not know this was going to happen? Like, how could you do this? You'd have to know that Metallica was going to not let you get away with this, that the eagle eye people of the internet never let you forget. And even after they took it down, they continued to get roasted. And again, it's not about political ideology. It's about taking a song. The government, if you have money to make and produce a high-quality cinematic drone video promoting your armed military might, then pay the artist, whoever that is, small or big, for using their song. Or find a more appropriate artist, Toby Keith, Five Finger Death Punch, Lee Greenwood, Proud to Be in the Mirror, like whatever you like. Put that song in everything. So I don't really get it. It's pretty dumb. They had to know they were going to get in trouble. How could they? Who didn't think they were going to get caught for this? So yeah, here's Pete Hegseth here in this clip of the video you can see. And they sent a cease and desist. And, Metallica does not like their music really being used without their permission. It's used plenty. Obviously, they have, 3 songs in the Billion Club and probably a few more to come soon, including Nothing Else Matters from the Black Album. And, they immediately took it down. But again, anybody thinking about using Metallica's IP, which they're very sensitive about, Let's not forget that this is the band that sued Napster. Although I have to say, Lars was right. I should be getting Lars is right shirts made and give them out as prizes to everybody. Lars was 100% right. Kookendall for kicks. Thanks for following. Um. Oh, interesting. Yeah. Oh, got you. So, yeah, man. Like, this is the band that sent Lars Ulrich to Capitol Hill. If you remember this from 25 years ago, the Napster case, which again, Metallica was right. The mistake was going after their fans. The fans are not really the culprits. It's this platform that devalued music, which we have now seen out to its fruition. I had a band interview today with a pretty radical death metal and progressive metal band, and we got on a side tangent in the middle of our interview about IP and AI and Spotify and all these things. So, Metallica, they don't win every lawsuit they ever have, but they surely have. Hey, Michael Licious is here. Hi, Michael Licious. Good to see you again. Metallica absolutely has a lot of legal firepower when it comes to it. Riff Informativo is here, as well as Garlantico. I wonder if you're related, but thanks for being here. So, yeah. Um, Wild shit, basically. Um, oh, Napster flag. That's pretty funny. But, like, you're not really trolling them. They were right. They were right to sue Napster. I don't understand. This is not really a thing for today, but while we're talking about it, let me make a comparison. The music industry and the movie industry, which the movie industry is well known as they're taking a beating and people are not going out to the movies anymore because it basically costs $50 to go on a date to the movies, and that's before you buy food or snacks or anything or transportation. So even to see a good movie, most of the time the movies are not good. So Hollywood has a problem. But how you can't see a movie at home before you can go see it in the theater in most cases. Obviously, streaming networks and things like Netflix and Prime have production companies, and they put and HBO and they put movies on all the time. First run movies. Yo, you went to the movies. Let me know what you saw, Dom. I'm looking to see. Uh, I'm looking to see Superman and the Jurassic Park movie. Check out my friend's Drill Pit Band on Insta. Nice, I will. Have them check us out because we do free shout outs in our interview videos every week. And there's a way to get in if you follow us and let us know you followed. Oh, F1, how was that with Brad Pitt? I hope it was cool. I will check out Drill Pit Band, Z. Thanks for sharing. I appreciate you. So, in the music industry, you get to hear a whole record without paying for it. You're paying for a service. Why did the major record labels make this deal with the devil with Napster? Maybe they were like, well, we're going to lose money if we don't. But they kind of set the bar for the entire music industry. There's whole groups of underground artists who don't care about Spotify numbers and just want to get their music into the ears of fans like Stoner Doom fans and death metal fans who mostly don't care about these numbers unless you're Lorna Shore or somebody like that, or Black Dahlia Murder or a Monomarth. But most of the time, it's just a free for all out there. And, like, it'd be much better if those bands were getting compensated correctly. Wanted to see Superman, your buddies outvoted you, but still a good movie. Nice to know. I will check that out. I'm a Brad Pitt fan. So Metallica doesn't win every lawsuit. They lost their lawsuit to they sued the most famous insurance company in world history, Lloyd's of London. If you recall, everybody's tour was getting canceled during the pandemic, and Metallica, tried to get cash in their insurance policy on a canceled tour with their tour dates in South America in 2020, which obviously everything was canceled. And Metallica didn't play again until summer of 2021. I know I was at the first show back in a small club in San Francisco. Lucky me on my birthday. But Greta Van Fleet was to open that tour. It was canceled. Metallica tried to claim their insurance. And when Lloyd's wouldn't pay, Metallica sued them and they lost. And it was dismissed after they appealed. Nice Top Gun with cars. That's a great analogy. Coming soon to the channel, Something Stupid with Dom's film reviews. So, Metallica doesn't win every lawsuit they have. They've also been, involved in very nefarious shit before, like Ticketmaster price fixing and stuff like that, which they got caught out there by John Oliver on Last Week Tonight in 2019 because of S&M 2. Jane's Addiction. Boy, we helped break this story last year, and it just keeps on giving in terms of being a website guy and a music journalist. You know the story. Jane's Addiction was on. They've been having a reunion tour. They worked on and maybe completed a brand new Jane's Addiction album. Dave Navarro had been suffering with long COVID, and he finally got well enough to go on tour. But also, apparently, Perry Farrell had been having problems with his ear and throat. Many performances were sloppy. If somebody is suffering with an illness or they have trouble performing, I'm not mad at them for toughing it out and trying to go through it. But at the same time, Perry was like very ornery and not cooperative about being part of, like he was literally fighting with his band and he said they were playing too loud and he couldn't hear himself. So he's obviously got some issues, both mental and physical. And as you know, a fight erupted on stage where Perry punched Dave Navarro in the face. Now, they used to beat each other up all the time. As you know, Jane's Addiction was a huge but volatile band. You could argue bigger now than they were when they broke up. Lollapalooza was originally conceived as their farewell tour and a traveling farewell tour, and that's what kind of spawned Lollapalooza. And I'm reading that book right now about Lollapalooza, and there's tons of stories about the Janes, drugs, and fighting and shit. So obviously they had a lot of shit they had never worked out or worked through. Hey, Michael Rucker, how are you doing? So this is some wild shit. Today, I didn't really have any sense this was coming down. Jane's Addiction members sue Perry Farrell for $10 million after the onstage fight derailed tour and new album. According to Rolling Stone, this is on Blabbermouth, Jane's Addiction members Dave Navarro, Eric Avery, and Stephen Perkins have filed a lawsuit against lead singer Perry Farrell, claiming an onstage altercation between Farrell and Navarro last September resulted in the cancellation of both their tour and planned album. Navarro is also suing Farrell for assault and battery related to the incident. They are not getting back together after this, probably. The complaint filed Wednesday in Los Angeles Superior Court alleges the group lost over $10 million as a result of the tour's cancellation. The band can no longer function as a result of the defendant's conduct, including his sudden violent outburst and demonstrated inability to serve as the band's frontman and vocalist. I wonder if this is like positioning that Perry owns the name Jane's Addiction and they would like to continue being Jane's Addiction with someone else. This is usually what happens. Jane's members also allege that Farrell was often unable to deliver on stage as a result of his alcohol consumption. We know all about that. Plaintiffs and others in attendance have observed during the tour that Perry regularly appeared on stage in an advanced state of intoxication. He often would drink on stage and slur his speech. Perry frequently went on long, rambling excursions between songs for no apparent reason except his own amusement. Jukebox Ginger is here. JG's Lounge is also here. What up, what up, what up? Christopher Frost, the attorney representing the band, in a statement to Rolling Stone, Dave Navarro, Eric Avery, and Stephen Perkins had high hopes they could capture the pure spirit of the band's early days and build on it. Initially, they did, in the studio and on stage, but they did so with a fourth bandmate who was by turns unwilling and unable to perform at a reasonable standard, who repeatedly threatened to derail the tour. They're going to call, if this goes to some kind of trial, if they can't settle this, they're going to be witnesses. The whole crew, their entourages, their word against his. I mean, this is going to get messy and sloppy. And, when they canceled the tour, the original statement shit on Perry straight up and said, our concern for his personal health and safety as well as our own has left us no alternative. We hope he finds the help he needs. That was the last word on this until today. Then Perry, a few hours later, files a countersuit against Jane's Addiction members hours after they sued him. So now, according to Daily Variety or Variety.com, because people don't read magazines and papers anymore, Perry Farrell has filed a suit against his Jane's Addiction bandmates just hours after they sued him. In his complaint, which according to Variety is not a countersuit, it's a separate lawsuit. Excuse me. Perry states that Jane's Addiction bandmates have sometimes been antagonistic to each other. It's well documented, but Navarro, Avery, and Perkins decided that Jane's Addiction's decades of success should be jettisoned in pursuit of a years-long bullying campaign against Farrell. Violence, this, that, the other thing, excuses, abruptly cancel a tour without consulting Perry, regarding the alleged backstage assault. The complaint reads Navarro has falsely claimed that Farrell hit Navarro with a sucker punch. What actually happened is that Navarro menacingly charged and aggressively assaulted Farrell and his wife Eddie Lau backstage, shouting, "What the fuck was that, you motherfucker?" Farrell took a defensive stance and shouted, "Get the fuck out of here," to which Navarro replied, "I am never working with you again." This is all according to the complaint. "I was not even consulted about canceling the tour and would not agree to do so due to the financial and reputational consequences, as well as exposure to third-party legal liability by allowing Wilton Hilton Inc., the band's touring company, to breach his touring commitments." Anyway, just messy. Just let's like grown ass men, almost 60 years old and 60 years old plus, just being fucking messy in front of everybody. You got to pick from that member. Is that Navarro? I do too. Hatebreed's guitarist has a brain tumor. Can't be with them. Yeah. Hatebreed is on tour right now. Wayne Wozniak has a operable brain tumor. I know a bit about this because my ex-girlfriend had one. Hey, Chris. Late Night Keefy here with a live stream about lawsuits going on in the rock and metal world this week. All my real ones come to the front. So, yeah, man. Wayne, I get it. Thank you, Dom. Yeah, Wayne's a good dude, man. We're all pulling for him. And I think there's some charity stuff going on with martyrstore.net where Josta does all his merch and stuff for himself and the band. So, yeah, Wayne's great, man. I've interviewed him. He's good people. You can recover from this. He'll bounce back, which is a good thing. So yeah, what a hot mess, man. Jane's Addiction, just like ugly. Just they used to look like beat up young chicks, and now they look like beat up old dudes, and now they beat each other up. I want Perry to get well and figure his shit out. I think Jane's is never coming back at this point. That ship has sailed. Dillinger Compound has arrived for the Late Night Keefy live stream. We were just talking about lawsuits this week. Metallica versus Department of Defense was the first one. Currently talking about Jane's Addiction. I have a new one coming up in a second. You may be able to weigh in on. And maybe all of you can weigh in on, because I am probably not my area of expertise somewhat. But, I am not a legal scholar, as I'm fond of saying. I'm actually not in the home studio, Dillinger and Dom. I am pet sitting this week. We'll see if this orange boy sleeping next to me wakes up. I don't want to wake him up to show him to you all, but maybe tomorrow on the live stream I'll have him for a visit. So screw Perry. Let's get a new deconstruction. Dude, I'm ready to get a Dave Navarro solo Trust No One record. Like, that's what I want, man. I love that Trust No One record. It's basically a Jane's record anyway. Maybe we can get all the displaced and disgraced guitar and singer and drummers from bands. Let's get Gilby Clarke and Dave Navarro and John Corabi, and Juan Crucier and Ricky Rocket, and let's get all the guys who can't get along to be in a band together. I think that would be fucking awesome. I'm sad to say it, man, because we covered Jane's Addiction a bit, and I was a fan of the band back in the day. And I appreciate Perry for what he did, although he's very well known as being a guy who takes the work of others and takes credit for it, like Lollapalooza, like the artwork for Nothing Shocking, and Ritual to Habitual. A lot of things Perry said came from me and my whimsical hippie, druggy, hippie, LA hippie guy thing, and he stole a lot of that shit from people too. So that's just what's real. That's all in the Lollapalooza book. If you really want to check it out, I'm enjoying it right now. And then this one today kind of blew my mind. So if anybody here is an expert on current hip hop, chime in, because I'm not. But I will say I'm an expert on music marketing, and I'm an expert on the music industry, and I'm an expert on metal and a few other genres. So Pixel Grip is a group we've covered. They just put a new album out, Precipitide, with a subtitle. Industrial metal from Chicago, sex positive, and a fantastic band. I've seen them twice live, once opening for Health, once headlining their own gig. We interviewed them at Riot Fest. This photo is from Riot Fest last year, shot by our own Randall Hicks, Windy Brick Photography. Randall Hicks, not to be confused with Gil Hicks, the second suitor. So Pixel Grip checks out the new Travis Scott record, And as they're listening to it, they're like, "Oh my god, this song bit our whole song like a complete song of theirs is just bit for the track." Uh, Dillinger Compound says Perry during that isolated audio clip released, he sounded terrible. Yeah, he was having like so literally, Perry was having hearing problems. I think he's going deaf. His inner ear monitors, his throat. He was overcompensating to hear himself. I mean, that's not an unusual thing to hear about. Ash wants to know my secret talent. I know more useless information about music history than anybody. Thanks for asking, Ash. Ash Chomp is here. Is that like Ash Stomp, Pantera? The cat just growled in his sleep. I don't know what's going on. He's having a fight in his dreams. I don't know what's going on here. If he wakes up, like I said, I'll scoop him up. But yeah, man, like I don't know. I don't know much about modern hip hop, but I'm pretty sure you have, like you have to clear licenses. You can't just take a song and then square it later. But this seems to be the case. You all tell me. I know Travis is one of the biggest superstars in rap. He's a pop star, legitimately a humongous artist, right? And the producer, they complained about it on Twitter, and they even joked about it, like, "Hey, at least tag us or shout us out. We're a tiny band. Like, we understand if you are digging into crates and you find a track from 50 years ago and that artist is dead, or nobody's collecting royalties, or you don't know who it is, and you take that track, that's one thing. But they're a current band that just put a new album out. You took their new song to put on a record that came out 3 weeks later, a month later. This is whack." Back when I was growing up, that was called biting, and you were shunned if you were a biter. I really never understood why sampling took over as the default thing. I guess it's again that nostalgia thing that just kind of supersedes everything. But you know, that being said, Pixel Grip, to their credit, the internet suddenly told everybody. They did an interview with CBS Chicago, which I think is fucking wild. And their publicist emailed me because we were exchanging emails about stuff. I was like, "Hey, I don't know if you saw this story, but here's the thing." And I'm going to be honest, I'm surprised that more people didn't pick it up. Metal Injection, Lamb Goat, y'all love the drama. Blabbermouth. These are my peers, but like, wait, Consequences Sound, Pitchfork, Spin, where are you in this? Where are you in this? Because we had the story before anyone really. Maybe a couple of other smaller websites. I'm kind of sad. So the producer of the track reaches out to Pixel Grip and messages them pretty publicly, "Yo, we love the song. This is so awesome. We'll be reaching out soon about compensation to clear the song." It's out already. You clear the song first and then you use the song or the sample. If I were them, they're not suing currently, but if I were them, I think Travis Scott and his producer are in a very disadvantageous position if I was a lawyer. They're not they're in a very litigious position. As I said, America's a very litigious country. People want to sue if they can find a way. Yeah, I agree with you, Dillinger. Perry does sound terrible. He's probably done. So Pixel Grip has called out Travis, and they were like, at least if you had like tagged us in something, we could have seen some love. Like maybe some people would discover our band. And then they kind of went through a list of other industrial metal bands that have been sampled by, or goth bands that they consider themselves goths, but I feel like they're a little bit of both goth and industrial and electronic music. As you know, Lil Nas X sampled one of Trent Reznor's 70 million Ghost songs that are piano and synth etudes that he created during the pandemic and a little bit again after or before and then after. And Lil Nas X's Old Town Road has like a little keyboard sample. So Trent Reznor got a Grammy as a result, as well as a lot of money for the clearance of the sample and the continued use of it. But this is like terrible, right? Like I'm not alone here, right? I think this is pretty fucking terrible. Let me know what you think. I am again. Travis Scott must have millions of dollars. His producers have millions and millions of dollars. And like I'm sure like a couple of $100,000 for Pixel Griff would change their whole life. You know what I'm saying? They're really an underground band. They're not really even on a label. Dillinger asks, Did I watch the recent Beato clip? By using Suno and Claude AI, he created a fictional indie Pilots and Collective Soul and a bunch of bands. I'm very disappointed to see Timbaland and what's his face, Rick Rubin, touting AI as a way to make money with music when these guys are some of the most famous producers to ever live. Especially Rick Rubin, who has worked across so many different genres with so many upper echelon bands. I'm probably going to do a live stream next week or in the coming weeks about AI. Drop a comment and let me know what other topics, or DM me. My DMs are always open at Ghost Cult Keefy, at Ghost Cult Mag, and tell me what you think would be some good live stream topics. I have a few I'm working on, but this one, just after the thing happened today, I was like, oh, here's what I'm going to talk about today. Metallica suing the Department of Defense, Jane's Addiction suing each other, and Pixel Grip probably going to sue. I don't know what amount of money makes it right to take their song without clearing a sample. The law is very clear. You have to clear the sample or settle. And I think they're in a very disadvantaged place. It's completely their track. It's not a bit of their track. It's not the synth sound. They didn't have the stems. They didn't ask. I remember I interviewed, I don't know if you guys are glam rock people, physical media and metal. Absolutely. I'm a huge vinyl collector and nerd. I don't know if you ever see our other show, the Glacially Musical Podcast, that comes out on Fridays, which I am the co-host. And we talk about vinyl and vinyl care, and we unbox vinyl, and sometimes we drink craft beer. I'm not drinking too much anymore because I'm on meds and a bunch of other things, but it's a lot of fun, and we deep dive on bands, and we're finishing our series on Beastie Boys, which was a little detour from rock and metal, and then the rest of the year it's all metal with no break. But yeah, definitely. Thanks, Travis Mansell. Appreciate you. You're awesome, pal. I appreciate you. You're awesome. Emmanuel KA96 is here too. YouTube will not monetize AI content. Spotify, on the other hand, is letting fucking bands get like 1 million followers in 2 weeks with an AI band. You collect cassettes. I used to have an awesome cassette collection. I don't know kind of the whereabouts of some of that stuff anymore. I lost some of it, but I'd like to go back to collecting cassettes. I had thousands of CDs at one point, which also used to house my ticket stubs from the 80s and 90s. Those are mostly gone, but I have quite a collection of vinyl. And it's a problem. It's a big problem. Did Cave In just announce 2 more reissues? Fuck my whole life. Bill and Ted, nice, bro. I still Bill and Ted holds up. Both the soundtracks hold up. I liked Bill and Ted 3. Apparently, there's plans for Bill and Ted 4. But good. I'm glad. I mean, I see a lot of AI and deepfake videos on YouTube. I'll be honest with you, Dillinger. But yeah, apparently they might get millions of hits and followers, but they're not getting monetized, which is nice to know. Because we have, if you're, for those, everybody is here. If you're not already subscribed, I think everybody watching on YouTube is subscribed. But if you're not, give us a follow and a sub. We are closing in on 6,000 subscribers on YouTube, which I'm proud of. I thought it'd be more by now, but it's tough. Is there a world where Spotify as a platform collapses? Probably not, but they are losing money. But they'll just hike up their rates a little bit more, and they'll just continue to do their deal with the 3 major. It used to be like 10 major record labels, or 20 major record labels, or 100 major labels, and now it's 3 basically, and a bunch of little other ones. When the metal labels, concerning all of us, when Believe took a stake in Nuclear Blast, and when Warner sucked up Roadrunner and Elektra and Atlantic and all these other labels, and so those are off the block now. And EMI was also Atlantic, and then luckily Metal Blade is still independent, Napalm still independent. I love these Relapse still independent somehow. I love these labels. I don't want them to disappear, but is there a world where Brian Slagle and the Brain Trust of Metal Blade, hopefully they'll never leave, but hey, Brooklyn Miss, long time no see, good to see you. I hope you're well, pal. Shannon is also here. Dom says, I know, but it's bad, but I have built up a Spotify, it goes down and gets destroyed. I agree. I use Spotify constantly. Relapse is not a subsidiary of Warner Brothers. As far as I know, they are still wholly independent, and thank fuck. Prosthetic just got sold. Fat Records got sold. They're all these middle level punk and metal labels are in they're not endangered because I believe like Hopeless Records, or which one, Hopeless or Fearless? I always confuse them. I think it's Hopeless Records bought Fat Wreck, and they always, it seems like they will take the legacy seriously. And Fat Mike and his ex-wife Erin, who co-own the label, will continue to be like co-presidents of Fat Wreck for their legacy stuff. They also wiped out the debt of everybody that owed the label money, which to the tune of $3 million. That's incredible. Nuclear Blast is not sold, but their parent company is now Believe Music, which is a digital distribution platform in Europe. And they bought Nuclear Blast to get that IP content. As far as I know, they're still focused only on metal and rock, and they're going to continue. They seem to do a good job. I have a lot of friends that work at the label. There are layoffs at all the labels. There was a guy who was at Warner Brothers and Roadrunner for like 15 years, and they let him go after he built them into a monster, even lately. And he's still working. Like, one of his biggest bands was Turnstile, that is technically a Roadrunner or Warner label band, and he's their publicist just independently. I hope it's enough to live on. It's a very difficult business. I agree, man. I do like Spotify for its facility. I use it like a search engine. If you're a band, you should consider Spotify only as a search engine. It's never going to pay you, but it's useful to be there because it became the gold standard. We didn't really plan it that way, but that's how it happened. I wish it hadn't. I need to do a longer episode on this. I would like to get some lawyer types in, either law students or existing lawyers in both America and Europe, to discuss IP and AI and streaming and all these things. I also highly recommend, I was a big Bandcamp guy, and I still am for a long time. I have a tremendous amount of stuff I bought on Bandcamp over the years, not so much lately. And I'm a big fan of Ampwall, Ampwall, which is created by Chris from the black metal band Woe from New York City. He's a coder and a developer. And he built this platform as the anti-Bandcamp. So it's all the stuff Bandcamp has. It's cheaper. It's less infringing. And more of the money goes to the artist. So I think that's fucking rad. And then you see that all the major label bands jumped on Bandcamp and Ampwall. Wheels is here. Hello. And so, it's super interesting. I didn't necessarily mean to talk about all this other stuff today. We were talking about legal troubles in the music world. Again, if maybe Brooklyn Miss knows. So I don't know if you saw the story today that Travis Scott basically stole a whole song from Pixel Grip, whose new album just came out, for Travis's new album that's out right now. And the band found out by listening to Travis Scott and heard the song, his album. And then the producer jumped in their comments and was like, hey, we're going to contact you soon to clear the sample. It's not clear the sample. You stole the song. You clear the sample before you put out the album. They put out the album. It's probably got hundreds of millions of streams. Let me go look it up on Spotify right now. Like, the track by Pixel Grip is called Pursuit. And if you saw our little social media, I'm about to fuck up my algorithm by looking at Travis Scott, but if you saw our social media posts about it, the breaking news today, I used the Pixel Grip song because, whatever, they could get a tenth of a penny, whatever the fuck it is. So here's Travis Scott, who has 63,563,708 monthly listeners. What does Pixel Grip have? It's probably maybe it's in the hundreds or thousands. Yeah, Pixel Grip. 161,303 monthly listeners. What the went black there for a minute. Hey, I'm back. All right. Chuck Kennison is here. I wonder how long until Ampwell gets replaced. I don't think it's going to, because that guy is independent and he swears he's not going to sell. What Bandcamp did that fucked up is they sold to Epic Games, and then they busted the union they were forming and laid off half the people, more than half the people. I wanted to work there very badly. I live in San Francisco, and Bandcamp is in Oakland, and I wanted to work there very badly in marketing. I would love a job in the music industry. Get to know me. I'm valuable. I don't think Ampwell's going anywhere, Tom. Yep. Epic Games, like Fortnite Epic Games, they bought Bandcamp and then they flipped it, I think. But in the meantime, they fucked the company irreparably. Really irreparably. So, really quick, I was looking on Spotify. Let's see this Travis Scott record, if it comes up. So, it's Travis Scott. I am not following. Jack Two Boys album, 17 songs, 55 minutes. And the lowest number of streams, 1,666,000, almost 10 million for Champagne and Vacay, 7.1 million, 9.5 million, 8.7 million, 5.29 million. The lowest songs on the record is 17 tracks on an hour-long record here, which is, admirable for a modern record. There's a couple of tracks with 3 million, a couple of tracks with 4 million. And then the next lowest is 5, 6, 7, 8, 8, 8, 9, 9, 17. I mean, Pixel Grip, you should sue. Like, absolutely sue. I don't know. Like, again, I suspect as an underground band, that I said this before, a few $100,000 changes Pixel Grip's whole life. On a side note, a little bird revealed to me today it is very possible that Ozzy could be releasing new music. Well, I think Ozzy has a whole new record done, and he has a series of singles that are already recorded with Billy Morrison, whom he did that podcast with. Billy from is one of his musical best friends and his podcasting buddy. So they put out a series of songs with Ozzy and him on it. So I know Ozzy's going to probably have at least one more record. But yeah, man, I think that shit is fucked. And again, to just pop up and, it's such a hot track and we love you so much, we'll be reaching out, our people will be reaching out about the clearance to clear the sample. Like, it's not a sample, it's the whole track. Right? Like, whoa. Look, man, I don't really, listen. My other podcast, like I mentioned, we're doing Beastie Boys. They heard a whole album of samples by the Dust Brothers that the Dust Brothers were making for their next record, and Beasties were like, yo, that shit is so hot, we're gonna just make that our whole next record. And they paid them for it. And that's Paul's Boutique, which at the time it came out was a bomb commercially, and I thought it was cool, but it definitely wasn't as fucking fun and catchy as License to Ill, but they thought that they were being clowned because of License to Ill, so they wanted to make a serious record to show how serious rappers they were, with a little bit of fun, still like Hey Ladies and things. But now that record is like, oh my god, that changed the whole game for sampling, because they just made whole songs out of tracks that was supposed to be part of the song. They made that part of the song the whole song. And then Dre, Diddy, Timbaland, everybody did those things. That's sick. It was an expression. Thanks, Brooklyn Miss. I appreciate you. It's nice to see you here. I miss you, and I hope you're really well. It's been a time. The world is on fire, and I retreat myself to the things that give me comfort, like music and friends. So I hope you're okay. But yeah, man, like, I grew up at a time when people used to breakdance and rap battle instead of stab each other. And then they went back to stabbing and shooting each other. Luckily, I made it out of there. But, yeah, this shit is wild. And I'm sure we're going to hear more about it. But, like, to then say, we're going to clear the sample, you know how much it's going to take? Whatever they offer, it's too little. And the album's out and got, millions of streams. Every song has more streams on one song than Pixel Grip has ever had. So I would sue. Or make them sell for an extremely high number. A very high number indeed, I would ask for. But anyway, Jane's Addiction probably cooked. Hopefully the rest of the Jane's guys make music together. I know they would like to probably win that lawsuit against Perry. And Perry probably, maybe he can pay it because he has Lollapalooza fuck you money. But I bet that lawsuit, the reason that thing exists is because Jane's wants to continue with another singer or be able to continue without Perry trying to sue them to not even continue. Metallica 1, U.S. government 0. This is not the first time they have tried to use Metallica music against Metallica's wishes. All they had to do is be more covert about it. But again, this administration, dumb as a bag of rocks. What are you going to do? I will be back tomorrow. It is 11 p.m. Pacific time. It's overnight where you are on the East Coast, and obviously it's the morning in Europe. Thanks for being here for a little impromptu legal talk with Ghost Cult. I am not a legal professional. I'm just reporting the news as I see it. But if I were picked to rip, sue the fuck out of Travis Scott and his producer. And thanks for being here. I will be back tomorrow afternoon, Thursday afternoon, about 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern, to do the weekly ritual. That is my every week recap of the week that was. And again, I always say you could watch any other show. You could spend your time with anybody else. You're hanging out with me. So I'm really grateful. Thank you so much, Brooklyn Miss, Dom, Dillinger Compound, anybody else that's watched. Why are you drinking a Monster at 2 a.m.? You are a masochist. I have to go to bed soon. I did have a huge coffee today. Huge. But thanks for being here, buddy. And all my real ones, thank you. And again, if you feel like being generous and dropping us a donation, the greatest nation is donation. And we don't have corporate support like all these other peer websites of ours. Most of them do. We don't. Here's how you can drop us some dough. Matt Price Guitar is here. Dom, I hope to see you tomorrow. Same with you, Dillinger and Brooklyn Miss. See you tomorrow afternoon, 2 p.m. Pacific, more or less. I think right about that time I'm going to go live. I have some traveling to do right after that. I'm Keefy from GhostCultMag.com. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll be back tomorrow. Peace, y'all. Thank you.